Welcome to Visualize, the podcast where collaboration fuels change. I'm your host, Chris Baker, and each week we'll explore incredible connections between nonprofits, businesses, and the community. This is a space where we highlight inspiring partnerships, uncover strategies for creating meaningful impact, and share stories that show how working together can make all the difference. Whether you're a nonprofit leader, a business owner, or someone just passionate about building connections, this podcast is for you. Welcome back to Visualize. Before we dive into today's episode, we just want to take a moment to say thank you so much to our brand partner for this episode, Erdi Kirklew with Visuals by Momo. Erdi and the team at Visuals by Momo help nonprofits and businesses tell their stories through video. From heartfelt interviews to dynamic brand pieces, they craft visuals that truly connect and inspire. We're proud to have Erdi and Visuals by Momo supporting this podcast. Visit visualsbymomo.com or check the show notes so you can see how you can bring your story to life. And now, let's jump into today's episode. Today's guest is Lorenzo Robertson from Ujima Men's Collective. If you're looking to check out their YouTube channel, it's Ujima, it's Ujima Men's Collective. Lorenzo is an author, poet, actor, and the founder of Ujima Men's Collective. He's a leader in HIV advocacy, racial equality, and the LGBTQ plus health. Lorenzo has spent decades educating and empowering Black men through wellness, cultural expression, and honest dialogue. He brings boldness, vulnerability, and wisdom into every space that he enters. So, Lorenzo, your background is incredibly diverse. Can you tell us how poetry, acting, and the advocacy work that you're doing all come together?
Well, it really comes together because when I start sharing my story about things that have happened to me through my poetry, through the acting, and also through the advocacy, it really kind of binds together, because the advocacy is really about how can we as individuals, how can we actually advocate for ourselves, but also our community. So in a lot of the work that I do, it involves how do we have our authentic voices? How do we make sure that when we are speaking and when we're talking, we're not only talking for ourselves, but we're also talking for those others whose voices may be silenced or who may not feel as though they have a voice or that they have anything to say or that anyone will listen. So we try to really make sure that what I do, I try to make sure that when I'm in spaces that I kind of open those doors and try to give other people opportunities to share their stories, share their wisdom, because many people have it, they just don't share it.
What are the ways that you can actually help them to open up and share that wisdom?
Really just by being honest and authentic myself, sharing things about me, who I am, some of my experiences, some of my challenges, some of my struggles, some of my triumphs also. Letting them know that it is okay to let people know, to let people in. Sometimes people, they just need that permission sometimes from someone else to say, you can talk about yourself, it's okay. And it's not boastful and not bragging, it's just really sharing your experience.
Okay. So what inspired you to found Ujima Men's Collective? And what does Ujima actually represent for you?
Well, Ujima is actually one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and it means collective work and responsibility. The organization was actually born from another organization I worked at, the People of Color AIDS Coalition, when I worked and lived in the St. Pete, Tampa area. And we had a conference one year. It was on the African American Male Institute. It was 1999. And at that particular conference, this is really for all Black men. Straight, gay, blah, it didn't matter what your sexual orientation was, but it was specifically for Black men. But I realized at that particular space that there are a lot of Black, same gender loving men who felt uncomfortable in that space, because sometimes when you're around cisgender heterosexual males, they may feel insecure about who you are, about your own sexuality, about your own masculinity. So I wanted to create a space where Black same gender loving men would be able to be open and honest and authentic with themselves in a safe and nurturing space.
Wow. You don't actually realize on how unsafe somebody can feel in a group until you actually are, in that space yourself and you're trying to step outside that.
Right.
So how does some of your lived experiences shape your approach to HIV education and the stigma there?
Well, I really try to approach it from, we all have stories, we all have experiences, and when I do HIV education, I don't come from a preachy, like, you should do this, you can't do that, don't do that, I come from a space of more so that we all have choices, we all have our own experiences, we all like the things that we like. Regardless of what I think about those things, it's not my business, because it's not something that I'm engaging in with you. So I really try to give people the opportunity to make their own decisions, but providing them all the information so they can be safe, so they can take care of themselves and also their partners. So I always try to do, like, when I talk about condom use, my approach is really like, there are people in your life that when you have sex with them, you're always, forever and a day, it doesn't matter, you're always going to use condoms with that person. Mm-hmm. There are other people that it may be sporadic. You use them sometimes, you don't use them other times. It just depends on the day of the week, the month, the minute. And there are those people in your life that you may never use a condom with, because whoever they are in your life, they have that particular space in your life, in your heart, in your spirit, that you are not going to put a barrier between the two of you. So that is the way I approach condom use when I do my educational sessions, and that gives people permission to really understand who they are, and they can make choices and decisions what's going to be best for them.
That's an interesting way of describing it, because when you're actually looking at building a relationship, and especially a sexual one, with somebody, where you put that line, that boundary between each individual, it varies. And I think you actually can relate that to almost everything in life.
Exactly.
Like, you have to put this safe boundary in place for this person so that you don't get hurt. And there's other people that you bring in so close that, they know every intimate detail about you. They know every, trauma, everything about it. So, wow. Is there anything else you'd like to share about Ujima and kind of the men's collective?
Yeah, our organization is really built around 5 tenets that we work under, which is leadership, advocacy, spirituality, relationships, health, and wellness. So everything we do revolve around those 5 tenets. So when we do our conference, which is coming up later on this year, we do our conference, and again, it's the 5 tenets. So if you're a facilitator doing a workshop, or if you're one of our keynote speakers, you will address those tenets. And our motto for our organization is really, the Ujima Men's Collective is designed for Black, same-gender loving men and those who love and support them. So we really open our doors to everyone who wants to work with us, so we're not limited in terms of it's only for this population. It's actually for anyone that wants to participate, anyone that wants to be involved and engaged with our organization. The doors are open.
So I may be completely wrong about this, but I definitely want to ask this question, because when it comes to that, as a Black individual, there is a different kind of stigma, unfortunately, around all of this, same-sex love and everything else, especially coming from the heterosexual side. And so this does make sense that you need to put some emphasis on giving that support to them first, but you are very inclusive to everyone else.
Yeah.
So what has been most of the biggest reactions for the individuals that you support and serve when they actually find out about Ujima?
When they come to, like, some of our programming, because we do community conversations periodically throughout the year.
Yeah.
We do our Man Up Festival, which is a health fair in the park, and we also include like field day type activities like sack race, 3-legged race, water balloon toss, those types of things. And when people come to our events, they realize that people are just people. Our sexual orientation, all the other things is really irrelevant in many spaces. And so when they come to those events, they realize that, oh, you guys are just like everybody else. It's not what I thought it was. And I think that becomes the overarching idea, and also the intent with people that we come in contact with. They're like, oh, I thought it was different. And they realize that we're just other people, and we breathe, we pay taxes, we go to work, same thing.
Everything the same, yes,
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But it really gives people opportunities to come in contact with people, because sometimes they feel as though, oh, I don't know people who are gay, I don't know people who are transgender, I don't know people. And when they are in that space, they realize that, oh, it's not what I thought it was.
Yeah, it gives them a different eye-opening experience. Like you said, I think that's one thing that's very needed. We need to break that stigma. We need to make sure everything is more inclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I want to actually switch over to our collaboration conversation segment. And so Can you explain some of the collaborations that you've had with Ujima from other nonprofits or from, the community itself?
Okay, of course. We do an annual program with the Pride Center here in Fort Lauderdale, the Wilton Manors. We do our Black Art Awakening, and it's an event that I initially started when I worked for the Pride Center. And when I left the organization, we still do that collaboration every year. It is an art exhibit for Black, same-gender loving, or LGBTQIA plus individuals who want to share their work, specifically for Black and people of color. And we put the artwork up for the entire month of February. We do an opening and closing reception, and it's really an opportunity for people to come to the Pride Center who may never have gone, but also it shows the collaboration between larger organizations like the Pride Center and grassroots organizations like Ujima. So we've done work with them before. We also do different activities with like New Era, which is one of the lodges in this area. We're currently doing our Man Up Festival, which I mentioned earlier. We have a lot of different organizations that work with us on that. And it's really to bring people together on a health perspective, because it's really about doing education about health, but it's also a fun activity as well.
What role does the Brotherhood and Fellowship play in the collective work?
It's really like the core of the organization, because it's really about bringing people together, and it's really about making sure that they understand what our organization is and also what we're trying to do for the community, because we really try to be advocates not only for ourselves but also for the greater community as well.
Can you share a time when collaboration amplified your message in a powerful way?
When my organization, we were honored by HRC one year.
Okay.
So therefore, that was a platform of people that we would not normally come in contact with, and they were able to give us an award for our work in the community. But it was really an opportunity to see people that you see in other spaces, but this was an opportunity for them to see us in a totally different light, and it gave us this a larger platform that we usually are not on.
How did you actually get nominated or for that award?
I'm assuming it's someone who's on one of their boards. They do the nomination process through that way, and then they ask you, are you interested? Do you want it? That type of stuff. I was like, of course, but...
Well, I mean, we all want awards and we want accolades. Like, we're moving forward. You're doing something good in the community. Right. So it's definitely a win. You did mention earlier that, you were a grassroots. Mm-hmm. So when did Ujima start?
It started... There are two different things. We started because when we initially, I mentioned the African American Male Institute. So we had started doing our conferences like in 2004. So we were doing the conferences during that time period. But at that time, we didn't have our 501c3 work. It was just like we did our conferences and we used fiscal agents or fiscal sponsors to get the funding to do those events. But in 2018 was when we actually 501c3, everything. That's when we actually did that part of it, and that was when we got contracts with the Florida Department of Health and other people like that to actually support our work.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've been around for about 7 years in that space. Why do you? So for 7 years and actually more 21, right? Like actually doing all the work for a lot longer. Why using the word grassroots? Wouldn't you be more of a smaller nonprofit at that point?
I mean, I think for me, when I say grassroots only because when you say smaller, then they are thinking size. When grassroots is really that you are an organization that's coming up from the community. For me, that's what it doesn't necessarily mean smaller. It just means like you are community based and you're really with the community, helping to build and grow your organization.
I love that. And that's actually a really good definition because I don't think everybody understands the difference between grassroots and small.
Right.
A lot of the times there is like a time period or a growth size period, like you said. But in your case, that actually makes sense. It's more about community based. And that, you are a grassroots in that way. And you're okay. How do you balance advocacy with healing inside your community with partnerships?
We try to partner with different organizations, so it's not always people who are part of the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. We try to do things that are outside of that as well. I personally work with, I'm involved with the Black Democratic Caucus, so other agencies and that type of stuff as well. I go to church, so I'm involved with my church. So I try to involve and incorporate other things into my life as well as with my organization.
What kind of collaborations would you hope to create more of in the future?
Probably some collaborations with maybe the law enforcement in our community to do things with them, because what we do is from an educational perspective, but so many people are fearful sometimes of police. They don't want police at your events. And I'm like, we need the police, we need law enforcement, because they are the ones who are here to, one, to support you, but also to care for you if something happens. So I would like to do some more work with law enforcement in our community.
Okay. Well, that's a shout out to the law enforcement and VSO. If you guys want to connect with Ujima Men's Collective, this was a great opportunity, because we're all about collaboration, and any way that we can help bring the community together, that would be best. So now we'll just take one more moment to recognize our brand partner for making this episode possible. Thank you, Visuals by Momo and Erdy Kirklew with Visuals by Momo for your amazing donation for this episode. So, as we've covered a lot of different areas today, I want to close with one final question. And that question is, what is the legacy that you personally want to leave for future generations?
My legacy is that all the things that I've done have not been for or about me. It's really about opening doors for the next generation. So it's really about making sure that the things that I'm doing, it's not going to stop when I stop. It's going to continue on, because I'm working with younger people, trying to mentor them and to groom them to be a part of maybe not necessarily Ujima, but other organizations, to actually work with how do we expand, how do we explore, and how do we just build our community on brick by brick, that type of stuff. So for me, it's really always about the next generation.
It is.
Yeah, and trying to live my life out loud and open. So therefore, if someone looks at me, they say, I can do that because he is a Black, Sandra-loving man living with HIV, all these other things, and he's accomplished these things. So I, as a young Black gay man, I can do that. That's something I can do also, because he did it and he looks like me.
You got to give some people hope, and you got to give some people, show them that it can be done. Yeah. So, you living authentic, living bold is exactly what this world needs. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being on Visual Eyes today. I really appreciate your insight. And if you're looking to connect with Ujima Men's Collective, how can they connect with you?
They can contact us, our website, ujimamen.net. Also, they can contact us. Our phone number is 954-533-9139. Or you can always email us at conference@ujimamen.net.
Sounds great. So connect with Lorenzo and Ujima Men's Collective today if you are interested. And thank you so much again for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. It was really very eye-opening for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Visual Eyes. We hope that the inspiration and practical insights can help you foster stronger connections and meaningful change. Don't forget to subscribe, share the episode, and leave us a review. To learn more about Visuals by Momo and how we support collaboration and storytelling, visit visualsbymomo.com. A huge thank you to everyone out there listening. Until next time, remember, collaboration fuels change, and your connections can inspire the world.